Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're tackling a classic, Your Money or Your Life by Vicki and Joe Dominguez. It's been updated for the 21st century, so we're going to see if their roadmap to financial independence still holds up.
Yeah.
Maybe uncover some surprising things along the way.
Yeah, what's fascinating about this book is that it really gets at this question of, does money really buy happiness? It challenges this idea that more money automatically equals a more fulfilling life, which is something we're all kind of taught.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
The authors argue we're all following this old map for money, like the one that says success is all about the stuff you own and the job title you have.
Yeah.
And we're told to work, work, work to get all that stuff, even if it means, giving up time, energy, and the things we actually care about.
Right, and the book highlights this with the story of Penny M. She had what most would consider a dream job, in Washington, D.C., but she felt like she was on this hamster wheel, constantly working to earn more just to spend more.
So she was trading her life for money
Yes.
without really asking, is this even making me happy?
Exactly. And here's the thing. Despite economic growth and having, more stuff than ever, studies show Americans aren't really happier. Back in 2007, total consumer debt was over $2.5 trillion. Clearly, we're not saving more even when we have more money.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
More stuff, more debt, but not more happiness.
Yeah.
Makes you think twice about that. More is better idea.
It really does. And, this unsustainable lifestyle isn't just impacting our wallets, it's affecting the environment, too. The book points out we're using resources faster than the planet can replenish them.
And that's where things get really interesting. Your money or your life dives into this whole concept of the money trap, the belief that more money will solve all our problems and make us happy.
Right.
But they argue that's a trap that keeps us stuck in this cycle of working and spending.
Right. Advertising and, societal pressures, they push this belief on us all the time, which leads us to overconsume and ultimately feel dissatisfied. Think about it. How many times have you bought something thinking it would make you happy, but then you end up feeling exactly the same or even worse?
Oh, too many times to count. That's why I think this fulfillment curve idea is so powerful.
Yeah, the fulfillment curve shows how our happiness actually peaks at a certain level of material comfort. Once we have our basic needs met and, some sense of security and comfort.
But then as we accumulate more and more stuff, our fulfillment starts to go down.
Exactly. There's this tipping point where more stops adding to our happiness and starts taking away from it. The book has a visual representation of this fulfillment curve to illustrate that. You can see the peak and then the decline as you move from basic comforts to luxuries and then all the way down into overconsumption.
It's a simple concept, but it's really profound. It changes how we think about wealth and happiness. So how do we escape this money trap? Is that where financial independence comes in?
Yes. And the book emphasizes that financial independence, or FI, isn't just about retiring early. It's about freedom from financial stress and having more control over your time and choices in life.
So it's about designing a life where you're not stuck in a job you hate just to pay for things you don't need. But how do you get there?
Well, Your Money or Your Life outlines 9 steps to achieve this kind of financial freedom.
9 steps. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. But before we jump into those, I think the book also talks about how this whole map we're using for money is outdated, right?
Exactly. It compares it to trying to navigate a modern city using a map from the 1800s. Things have changed so much.
So what's changed?
Well, the Industrial Revolution and the economic boom that followed created this whole belief system that more is better,
Yeah.
Bigger, better, faster.
And we're still kind of stuck in that mindset, even though the world is facing new challenges like environmental issues and resource depletion. It's like we're driving towards a brick wall with the gas pedal floored.
Right,
And I feel like we all kind of feel like something's not right.
right. We work longer hours, but are we actually happier? We buy more things, but are they really bringing us lasting satisfaction? The book challenges us to question these ingrained beliefs about what a good life looks like.
It's a wake-up call to examine our lives and ask, are we living with purpose?
Yeah.
Or are we just going through the motions, chasing things that ultimately don't matter?
Yeah, it's a really important question because if we don't create our own map, we risk getting lost in this maze of consumerism, and we might end up feeling empty and unfulfilled.
Okay, so the old map for money isn't working. Let's talk about creating a new one. What does that even look like?
Well, Your Money or Your Life says the first step is understanding where you are right now. And that starts by taking a long, hard look at your relationship with money.
So it's kind of like taking inventory of your financial life before you set off on a new adventure.
Exactly. And one of the first things the book suggests is figuring out how much you've actually earned in your lifetime.
Wow, that sounds a little intimidating.
It can be, but it can also be eye-opening. When you see that number, the total of all your hard work, it can be a real game changer.
I bet it makes you think twice about how you spend your money.
Absolutely. It forces you to face the true cost of your lifestyle.
So it's about facing the facts, even the tough ones, and then using that information to make positive changes. It sounds like your money or your life is about more than just numbers, though.
Right.
It's about evaluating how you're living.
Absolutely. And that leads to the idea of valuing yourself, which the book says goes beyond just, your net worth.
Okay, so what does that mean? Valuing yourself beyond just money.
It means recognizing your worth as a human being, understanding that your time and energy are valuable resources.
So like remembering that your worth isn't tied to like your paycheck or how much stuff you own.
Exactly. And that leads to this big question the book asks. Are we really getting our money's worth from our jobs?
It's not a question we ask ourselves very often. We kind of just assume that work is work and you got to do it to earn money.
But your money or your life wants us to dig deeper, to consider if our jobs align with our values. Do they bring us fulfillment or are they draining our energy and leaving us feeling empty?
Because at the end of the day, it's about finding a balance, right?
Yeah.
Between earning a living and living a life that feels meaningful.
Right. And that's where this whole idea of enough comes in.
Enough. Okay, tell me more.
It's about recognizing that at some point, more money doesn't equal more happiness. It's figuring out how much is enough for you to live comfortably and pursue your passions without always feeling like you need more.
That sounds liberating. But how do you even know how much is enough for you?
That's a question we each have to answer for ourselves. And the book has some exercises to help you do just that.
So it's about self-reflection, really tuning into your own needs and wants instead of blindly following what society tells you should want.
Exactly. It's about defining your own version of enough based on your values and your own vision of a fulfilling life.
And speaking of fulfillment, this is where that fulfillment curve comes in, right?
Yeah. The fulfillment curve visually represents how our happiness is connected to our consumption.
It's like a graph that shows how fulfillment goes up as we meet our basic needs for survival, comfort, security. But then what happens?
Well, as we move beyond those basic needs into luxuries and excess, our fulfillment level's off. And actually, it can even start to go down.
So it's not about deprivation, but finding that balance where you have enough to feel good without constantly needing more. Sounds like those 9 steps might help us figure that out. Ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's explore those 9 steps. Remember, this deep dive is really about the core principles of your money or your life to help you change the way you think about money and fulfillment.
Right, step 1, if I remember correctly, is all about making peace with your past.
That's right. It's about acknowledging and accepting your past financial choices, the good ones and the bad ones, without judgment.
So letting go of any guilt or regret you might have about past financial decisions.
Yeah.
And focusing on moving forward.
Exactly. Everyone makes mistakes, and learning from them is part of the process.
Okay. And step 2, that one's about tracking your life energy. What does that even mean?
This step introduces a pretty radical idea, seeing money as a representation of your life energy. When you spend money, you're exchanging your time and energy for goods and services.
Wow, that puts things into perspective.
It really does. And step 2 involves tracking your income and expenses really carefully, like creating a map of where your life energy is going.
So you mean writing down every single dollar you earn and spend?
Yeah, the book suggests keeping track of everything for at least a month, maybe longer. It might seem like a lot, but it's super insightful.
It's like shining a light on your spending habits. Helping you see those patterns you might not even realize are there.
Exactly. It's about gaining a deeper understanding of how you're currently using your life energy, which is the first step in making better choices about how you want to use it in the future.
I have a feeling this is going to be eye-opening. Okay, so we've tracked our life energy. Now what?
Step 3 is all about valuing your life energy.
So once you've tracked your income and expenses, what do you do then?
Well, the book says you need to figure out your real hourly wage.
So it's about figuring out how much you're actually earning per hour, not just your salary.
Right. You need to factor in all the costs of working, not just your salary.
Like commuting, work clothes, childcare, even that daily coffee run.
Right. All those things contribute to your true hourly wage. And once you see that number, it can be eye-opening.
I bet it makes you rethink those impulse buys.
Definitely. It helps you make more conscious spending decisions
Yeah.
because you're always aware of the life energy you're trading for each purchase.
It's like a total shift in perspective.
Eh.
Okay, so we've tracked our life energy, and we've figured out what our time is really worth. Where do we go from there?
Step 4 is all about seeing how much is enough. Remember we talked about that earlier?
Right, the idea that more money doesn't always equal more happiness.
Exactly. Step 4 is about figuring out what your personal enough is. The point where you have enough to comfortably meet your needs without constantly feeling like you need to get more.
Okay, I see how these steps are all building on each other, so how do I find my enough?
Your money or your life gives you some really insightful exercises to help you do that. It's about really looking inward and figuring out your needs and desires instead of just following what society tells you.
Sounds like a valuable process.
Mm.
Okay, step 5, what's the focus?
Step 5 is all about visualizing your life energy.
Visualizing. What does that mean?
This step is about creating a visual representation of your income and expenses. It helps you see the bigger picture of your financial life.
So it's like turning your financial data into a piece of art.
In a way, yeah. It's about using graphs or charts or any visual that works for you to show how your life energy is flowing in and out.
I'm guessing that helps you see where you might be overspending or where you could save more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a super powerful way to understand your spending patterns, and you can see where you might want to make some adjustments.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all works. Step 6, what is it about?
Step 6 focuses on valuing your time.
Something we could all use a reminder of. Time is precious.
Absolutely. Your money or your life encourages us to really see our time as the valuable thing it is.
So it's about making intentional choices about how we spend our time and making sure they align with our values and priorities.
Exactly. And sometimes that means saying no to things that are draining our energy or that don't bring us joy.
It's about taking back control of our schedules and creating a life that feels more balanced and fulfilling. Now, I'm really curious about those last 3 steps. Okay, let's hear it. Step 7. What's it all about?
Step 7 is about minimizing spending.
The dreaded budget talk. But I have a feeling your money or your life takes a different approach to this whole budgeting thing.
Yeah, it's not about deprivation or restriction. It's more about making sure your spending is aligned with your values and finding ways to save without sacrificing your quality of life.
So being more intentional about our spending and getting a little creative with how we save money.
Exactly. And the book is full of really practical tips on how to minimize your spending in every area of your life, from groceries to entertainment to even housing costs.
So it's about finding those ways to save that actually feel good and sustainable. So you can stick with them. Okay, what about step 8?
Step 8 is about maximizing income.
Okay, so this is where we talk about ways to increase our income, right?
Right. Whether it's negotiating a raise, maybe starting a side hustle, or even finding a new job that really uses your skills and passions.
So it's about being proactive and thinking outside the box when it comes to earning money.
And the book emphasizes that maximizing income isn't just about working more hours. It's about working smarter and finding ways to create more value.
So using your skills and talents to build a career that's both financially rewarding and personally fulfilling. I love that idea. All right, bring on the final step. What's number 9?
Step 9 is all about investing your life energy.
Investing. That sounds exciting. But again, I'm guessing this is about more than just the stock market.
You got it. It's not just about putting your money in the market. It's about investing your time, energy, and resources in things that really matter to you, that align with your values and your vision for a good life.
So investing in yourself, your relationships, your community, and those experiences that bring you joy and meaning.
Exactly. The book encourages you to think about investing more broadly, looking at all the ways you can use your resources to create a life that's rich and meaningful and purposeful.
I love that. Okay, so we've gone through those 9 steps, but before we wrap things up, I want to touch on that fulfillment curve one more time.
Good idea. The fulfillment curve really highlights that getting more stuff doesn't automatically equal more happiness.
Right. And I think a lot of us have experienced that. You get that new gadget, you're excited for a minute, but then it kind of fades, and you're back where you started.
Exactly. And the book really wants us to ask ourselves, will this purchase actually make my life better? Does it align with what's really important to me?
So it's about spending our money in a way that's conscious and aligned with our values and goals.
Right, and that connects with the idea of enough that we talked about earlier.
Right, that there's a point where more money doesn't make you happier. Sometimes it just makes you more stressed.
Exactly. Your money or your life encourages us to define what enough looks like for each of us. What level of financial security and comfort will let us live the life we want without being tied to a job we hate?
Such a powerful concept.
Mhm.
So how do we figure out what our enough is?
Well, the book has a ton of helpful exercises for that, and a big part of it goes back to that monthly tabulation. Remember, it wants you to keep track of your spending, but also to ask yourself how satisfied you are with each expense.
Yeah, those questions like, did this purchase make me happy? Does it fit with my values? How would my spending change if I didn't have to work?
Exactly. Thinking about those questions helps you figure out what spending actually makes a difference in your life and what's just a quick fix.
And as you do that, you might start spending less on those things that don't really matter. And then you free up more resources, not just money, but time and energy for the things that truly do.
It's like decluttering your whole life.
Love that analogy. And as you simplify your life and focus on what matters, you might find that you don't need to earn as much money to support your lifestyle. And that's where financial independence comes in.
Right. It's about having more freedom and choices in your life.
And that really gets to the core of your money or your life.
Right.
It's about using those 9 steps to make money a tool for a better life, not a source of stress and worry.
Exactly. It's about creating a life that's designed around what truly matters to you.
So to wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this question. If you didn't have to work for a living, what would you do with your time? What would bring you joy? What would give your life a sense of purpose? Something to think about.
Great questions.
And for anyone who wants to explore those questions further and really dive deep into those 9 steps, I highly recommend checking out Your Money or Your Life. It might just change the way you think about money, work, and what it means to live a good life.
Couldn't agree more. It's a powerful book.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.